BXB. It's in the game!
Hey guys, it's me Ben, back with another one of my quick video reviews, and guess what? It's that time of year again where we get a new WWE game from 2K, and this year, predictably, we are looking at WWE 2K18. Now, I reviewed last year's game, and I really didn't get on well with last year's game. It felt unfinished. I felt like a lot of the graphical kind of presentation choices were really poor. The controls were wonky. The lack of a decent sort of story mode was really apparent and disappointing. And I really didn't enjoy the fact that so much seemed to be missing from the experience. Now, this year, we have the biggest ever roster of WWE superstars in a wrestling game, and that certainly helps. It doesn't hurt to have lots of choice when you are putting together your fantasy grappling matchups. In addition to that, for the first time ever, we have up to 8 wrestlers in the ring, which is awesome for things like your Royal Rumbles or your 4-on-4 tag matches, which are obviously very popular with Vince and the management, especially if he's dealing with the women wrestlers and doesn't really want to give them too much time in the ring, even though they're often better than their male counterparts. But this isn't my excuse to get smarky and talk about behind-the-scenes stuff. If you want some of that, I definitely recommend you check out the regular podcast. Wrestling comes up fairly often because both me and Richard are into it, but that's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to talk about 2K18. So let's talk about a few more of the new features. Another big feature is that you can now grapple and hold and lift wrestlers around the ring and position them how you want and slam them down where and when you want, which is a cool new feature. And to be honest, that kind of brings us to the end of the big new features and additions for this year. I will be happy to report that the new UI, it looks really good. The best thing is that the character models have been completely overhauled and look fantastic this year. Last year, one of the big problems was the removal of pictures depicting the wrestlers to give you that kind of immersive presentation because their models just didn't look that great, and it really pulled me out of the experience. This year, the models look better than ever. The likenesses are fantastic on a lot of the wrestlers. Therefore, the presentation relying on models rather than photos or videos of the wrestler works really well, and it's actually an immersive element of the game. This year's iteration, I'm going to say it right now, is definitely better than last year's. But I will obviously add that the core problems with this game remain. The combat still feels sluggish, hit detection feels all over the place, the reversal mechanic feels so hit and miss, it's frustrating, the pinning minigames are annoying, the submission minigames are annoying, any of the minigames that sort of depict more complicated elements of wrestling are annoying. 2K's obsession, and I'm guessing WWE's obsession with portraying professional wrestling as a real sport with real competition is annoying, because even the biggest fans of wrestling like me know that matches are predetermined, that you're really trying to put on a show and not have a competitive, pugilistic, sporting event. So yeah, those problems are still there, but like I said, I think this is a lot better than last year's. The new career mode is more engaging and immersive, and it's the right step in the right direction. It's not perfect. The reliance on text presentation, the reliance on really sort of badly written text presentation and strange sort of little dialogue cutscenes, it's not great. It takes you out of the flow. It could definitely be smoother, but as a sort of basis, it's getting better. The cutting a promo feature that was introduced last year and was disastrously poor is still here. The writing has got a bit better. The actual kind of prompts that give you an indication of what you should be doing a promo have improved, however, so the game aspect is better, even if the presentation aspect is still lacking compared to the reality of how important and engaging a well-cut promo in the WWE really can be. It's still strange to have these dialogue promos attached to wrestlers that have amazing promo skills and then don't reflect the character of the wrestler that you're looking at in that moment. It's very, very strange. But the career mode is improved. The integration of the way in which the authority plays out, your promotions throughout the different shows, your rivalries, everything feels more organic and less like just managing screens and stats to min-max your abilities. It's still grindy, but it's okay. The other one with the weird things we've got in here is that the virtual currency that we may have seen in the other 2K games, like the basketball game, is here, and everything is tied into this virtual currency. Absolutely everything, from new moves to new ring attire to customizing your character, you name it, you have to use the virtual currency to purchase it, and a lot of things are locked away behind this virtual currency, and even worse than that, they are locked within loot boxes. Do not fear, there is no way of buying loot boxes with real money. It can only be bought with currency you earn in the game. However, it's incredibly grindy. It takes even longer to get the stuff you want. So many of the elements of the ring attire and the movesets that I wanted to customize and create my character were locked inside loot boxes, which is incredibly frustrating because you buy a loot box, you don't know what you're going to get, so you can't really get the stuff you want to create the wrestler you want, which is the best part of these games. It is creating the wrestler. The creating a wrestler suite is fantastic. The amount of options available to make your wrestler look the way you want, to play the way you want, it is incredible, and yet it's just not that accessible, which is such a shame. I've really enjoyed the element of the career mode. I think it is a big improvement. The sort of normal versus modes and multiplayer suites are all in there, as you'd expect from another iteration of WWE 2K games. You know, that's all there. The presentation is good. The universe mode is fine. The online is fine. It's always impressive to see the amount of stuff that people can create for this game. However, the limitations that have been placed upon us with this virtual currency and the loot boxes really detracts from your ability to customize things well. Yes, the ability to upload your face, to upload assets into the game makes a lot of freedom for the creators that really want to dig into things. That's not me. I'd rather just download these things and pilfer them. But, you know, I do need to just touch a little bit further before I draw this to a close on that grappling ability, on the actual wrestling ability of these games. The biggest problem is that these games are on a yearly cycle. It's clear that there is passion and interest and love for the entertainment form that is WWE and wrestling in general, you know, on display within this studio. You can tell they really care. However, they're not being given enough time to make these really fundamental changes required to turn the WWE 2K games into must-buys. The things on the periphery are excellent, and there's so much sort of potential within the story modes and things like that, but if they're not going to be given enough time to improve the grappling mechanics, improve the reversal mechanics, improve the striking and the sort of hit detection capabilities of this game, to really iron out so many of the bugs that are constantly apparent in the WWE games, if they're not given that time, it's never going to get better. And I think the sad thing is 2K knows they don't need to do it because the fans will go out and buy these games regardless. So this game is better than last year's. It's still got a long way to go to get up to the pinnacle of the earlier SmackDown vs. Raw games, and even before that with the wrestling games on the N64 and platforms like that, and really embrace the fun of this entertainment form. So, 3 out of 5 stars.
BXB. It's in the game.